Wajoman. At the Monogumia, Wajoni. Attacking my job, Wajoman. Everyone, Jamio, Wajoman. I shall walk out, Wajoman. If it's a Kamachama, Wajoman. I shall go, Wajoman. At the Monogumia, Wajoni. Wajoman. Oh, Mama Tabaja, Camio, Wajoni. Oh, Mama Tabaja, Wajoman. Ajogo, and a Kijogo, Ajogo, Mama. Wajoman.
The making of Igala, His Royal Majesty Agabaidu Matthew Alaji Opaluwa Oguche Akpa II, President, Kogi State Council of Chiefs. Prince Matthew Alaji Opaluwa, as he was addressed then, was announced as the next Igala on Monday, October 18, 2021 by the Kogi State Government through the Office of the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, led by Honorable Barrister Abdulsalam Izigi Didat. This was in view of the recommendation by the Igala Kingmakers through the Igala Area Traditional Council to the Kogi State Government. The news came out 1 year and 2 months after a hunting adventure of His Royal Majesty Agabaidu Idapo Michael Ameboni II. It was such a long time to wait for an Igala return from hunting, and while the waiting lasted, lots happened that many prayed that should be the last in our history. Hence, the announcement of the next Igala brought relief to many, and peace seems to return to the land eventually. With the announcement, Idokanya, meaning the next in line to sit on the revered throne of Igala, and so the traditional rites will be performed for 9 days before he entered the palace as the Igala. To commence the traditional rites, the first point of call is Uwolawo, very significant to reflect the historical journey of Abutueje through the Ida before becoming the Igala. Idokanya, Prince Matthew Alaji Opaluwa, proceeded from Lokoja on Monday, November 8, 2021 at about 1:37 p.m. to Uwolawo. On his way, he was welcomed warmly at various spots in different towns till his destination in Uwolawo. At Uwolawo, the reception was very massive as people turned out en masse to welcome the Idokanya. And traditionally, Ikabi, a chief from the Achadu's palace, was there to welcome him to his thatched hut where he would be passing the night. As early as 6 a.m. in the morning of Tuesday, November 9, 2021, Ikabi had already resumed his traditional task of preparing the Idokanya for the Ida journey, which was done on foot in the past being the only means of transportation at the time. Later, horses were used at interval, and today, vehicles are used. But the critical point is that entry to most major towns along the roads to Ida were done by foot to keep the history intact, as each town come out to welcome the Idokanya and bid him farewell as he leaves their town. So, at 7:06 a.m., Idokanya stepped out of the thatched hall where he passed the night, attending to the various activities demanded of him, while cultural entertainment was on through the night till dawn. To begin the rite of his journey to Ida, there, Ikabi, after the basics, presented him a horse whisk sent to him by Ashadu from Ida, and then adored his head with the long red traditional cap, which he will wear through the remaining days of his traditional rite of becoming the Igala. Thereafter, he prayed for the land, and the journey to Ida commenced. As soon as he, Idokanya, moved on, the thatched hut went ablaze in seconds, which symbolically means the end of his personal material possession on earth, as everything thereafter becomes all about the people he leads. The life ahead of him will be a selfless one for the common good of his people, home and abroad. Arriving at Ashadu Palace in Ida was another memorable moment given the crowd that received him and the masquerade outside, all in festive mood as the whole environment was agog. He was welcomed by the Ashadu at the Ashadu Okwata's palace, as the Ashadu at the time had gone hunting too and yet to return. The third day of the traditional rite of Aidokanya in becoming the Igala was the ear-piercing ceremony, which is built for the Ashadu's palace. But because Ashadu had gone hunting, the ceremony was done at the palace of Ashenyu Ashadu's, right behind the Ashadu's palace. The ceremony is symbolic in so many ways. It indicates the bond between the two clans as an agreement to live as one family in a marriage pattern which historically dated back to the Ebulejonu era when she married Ashadu, and that marriage gave Ashadu the extra title of Okwata. At about 10:07 a.m. on Wednesday, November 10, 2021, Aidokanya was gallantly ready for the task ahead of him, and he proceeded to the inner room where the ear piercing was done. The ear piercing ceremony was handled by the Ashaduku Achadu, greeted Iyokpo, and coordinated by Ikabi, who later ceremoniously went to the Adokulu Aganapoje with marriage items, kola nuts, and drinks. To end the ceremony here, yam was peeled, boiled, and poured into mortar for the Aidokanya to pound, and Ikabi took over after Aidokanya picked the pestle to pound the yam already in the mortar. This phase brought the traditional rites at the Ashadu's palace to a successful end. The fourth day of the traditional rites came with a day between the ear-piercing rite at the Ashadu's palace. This was because a day was set aside for the nursing of the ears before the remaining rites could continue. So, on Friday, November 12, 2021, at about 3:33 p.m., Aidokanya proceeded to Okutaleche at Igala Mela Odolu to continue with traditional rites of the fourth day. The Okutaleche is at Inashalo River source. It's the headstone of Ata or Oguche Akpa. It's very historical and has been there for time immemorial, as it plays very fundamental roles and its significance is key too. At the Okutaleche, Chief Ashanyuwo and Ohioga Ata coordinated the rite. There were a series of communications with the great beyond, and many revelations were made known, and even as declarations came forth too for the good of the Igala and his kingdom, Igala land. This is fundamental guide and pathway for the attack going forward in the affairs of mankind, and particularly as it concerns Igala kingdom. The Ojaina rites are in phases and last for 5 days, and on Saturday, November 13, 2021, at about 10:03 a.m., Aidokanya made the move to the palace of Adokulu Aganapoje to begin the traditional rites. Arriving the already crowded palace of Adokulu Aganapoje, Aidokanya was given a warm reception.
Oguche Akpa eno Oguche Akpa to amala kika kinjofe Oguche Akpa la go Oguche Akpa la ali Oguche Akpa la ka aka abele shakele dede ni go kamara amana ka bele jon ifo eno Oguche Akpa la de kiko ifo eno Oguche ila de kiche to lele jakala domo amana bika fula kala no lan taba okalama efe odu kana Oguche de amunuku ma wewe amunuku na Oguche ma wewe aka amunuku na Oguche ma wewe nlei o meni ama kama ya da kudie abo ma ya da kudie le amela ya wewe no kama me ofe eduele to baba okulaka ko efe odu kana Oguche deme amunuku ma wewe to mbe ka abo ma lo le mi de amuna na duka ro le mi amunuku cho gboko if mother ne kuma go onwe aka icheju ma cheju un itokwa kama tokwa pa en kichi mo ma do fe won je nda ala mo fele do amudu kekele un o kekele un no bala se me ka so pa unchi ya choko un aso pa won ni a do kekele un ma mo fe do kekele un yo o fa te ma un na ma do kekele un ina un du ko la che un che ma ko ma wedo on la che ma ko ne keshe ama ina un ko ma che ya ko fa tan bien to da lele a ko la mo fe do le akelo un le la lewu o mu bi dagba un le ide fun ide la le gba ise won oṣù kan ni ise won oṣù mẹ́ta ni to dun ise bi ko tane ise na me fe o le kile gudu ami fe o wewe kile gudu a ki ma chomo ohun edupe ke ahoko anen iyoko anen ama ngu ki tele saka hele asema to koju leun ohun la chida a ki la wida ngbe ko wa ru ki wa mane mo jube ka do mala do oja ina to ida ko la wa amune didata ki wa jabu teje to didata bono efe yo kuma dida so ko yana aboyi dadomo aboyi gala domo aboyi gala mela domo ama jofe Igala ko wa kerebo amale wa adoma ama jofe Igala mela laka be Igala mela kama nkola wa alibalibele o male ikwani ka bu ajo ka choli ulema kwani
And the process began by presentation of kola nuts to Adopulu by Aidokanya, which traditionally means declaration of his intention to come and take over the throne of his fathers. In turn, Adopulu accepted the kola nuts with token of financial support from those that accompany Aidokanya on the mission. Next step, Adopulu broke the kola nuts and it was confirmed clean and acceptable divinely. So, Aidokanya's mission was welcomed. By 3 p.m. on Sunday, November 14, 2021, Aidokanya returned to Adopulu Aganapoje for the next phase of the traditional rite. Again, kola nuts with some talking were presented and the Anuku discussion took place in preparation towards the successful ascension to the revered Igala's throne. Part of the discussion on this day is brief of the journey and what next to be done, which shouldn't be a hearsay situation but face-to-face between Adopulu Aganapoje and the Aidokanya. With that successfully done, Aidokanya was ready for the next traditional rite built for the next day.
Ya autobla kane ngo nana kane ye kute itelata Tidoma, Tingele, Tololu, Tolane, and then Kanaka, Monica, Buka Tete, Yanika, the Dugo, Abacola, Duke Apomo, Yanika Akpa, Omi Kwane. Then it Bakabe, Oguche Mahamele Chilago, Managuche. Tabakaya, Oguche, Managuche, Kumachimalago. Abo Chakahele, Kumajofe, Chamuguche, Igala, Omiche. Atayegba, Ofe, Echamune, Kumaje, Onchene, Onchataye, Jodudu, Ujane Gala, Chasakahele, Ichamune. Akila Mune, Takila Cheshamune, Alcamela Nana, Moane, Peru, Shakahele, Abokima, Abokmalamun, Mole Movedu Maje, Akila Movedu Majele, La Omane Dumo, Akumba Bay, Atuba Bay, Ueke Jena Bay, and I did you go can I go him. Akumba Bay, Atuba Bay, Ueke Jena Bay, and I did you go can I go him. I'll confess. Makudo Yanede.
On this day, Monday, November 15, 2021, at about 10:11 a.m., Aido Kanya proceeded to Ojaina, making a stop at Egwola's place. Egwola is the custodian of the Royal Grove site, where the Igala rest whenever they go on hunting expeditions. So, the essence of the visit was to appreciate Chief Egwola for the task of taking good care of the Royal Grove. After the visit, Aido Kanya proceeded to the palace of Chief Adokulu Aganapoji for an internal brief and preparation for the next day's traditional rites to be performed at the Adokulu Palace the next day. The Aido Kanya's visit on this day was very brief, as it's another one-on-one with the Adokulu as they prepared for the last day of the traditional rites, which was billed to be the next day, the 9th day of the traditional rites in the making of Igala. This was on Tuesday, November 16, 2021 at about 10:30 a.m. This is the night and very critical in the traditional rites of the making of Igala. As on this day, Aido Kanya will be finally transformed, giving birth to traditionally, and he will become Igala and then return to the palace for the first time since he emerged Aido Kanya. At about 9:13 a.m. on Wednesday, November 13, 2021, the last journey to Ojaina began, and the first point of call was the palace of Chief Ahmadu Atta Aganapoji. Adokulu accepted the kola notes with the token presented by Aido Kanya, and those who accompany Aido Kanya came up to make financial support as Adokulu was ready to bid the Aido Kanya, which would be a declaration to hand over his father's throne to him, finally with 2 single beads, one on the left wrist and another on the right wrist. This traditional bidding is the Oliowo, which marks handing over of the throne. Thereafter, Adokulu called on the chief Achadogbe, emerged with the responsibility to take the Aido Kanya to the Egbe burial site inside Ojaina Royal Grove. Through the Royal Grove, the rites were performed, and that will be the last time Aido Kanya, after being transformed to Igala, will ever visit the place. His next visit will be when he goes hunting. Until then, never will he visit the site again. Coming out of the Royal Grove, Aidokanya presented his game from the hunting to the public, and they proceeded to Ofukolo, crossing the Inner Shallow River on foot. At Ofukolo, where Aidokanya was given birth and become the Igala, Onubiogbo and Onuede performed their various traditional rites to complete the process of the traditional birth of Igala, and from this point, Igala is greeted Agabaidu, and the women greet him Amideju. Now, as Igala, Agabaidu then moved from Ofukolo to Erane, where the Onu, Ofiji, Atebo, the 9 Adukulu chiefs, and Agaidoko performed their respective tasks one after the other. The 9 Adokulu chiefs were there to beat the new Igala. Agaidoko was there to receive the new Ata from the hunting expedition. The Achadu Okwata was there to fraternize and cheer him up. The essence of this traditional rite at Erane is the sealing of the agreement to live as one indivisible Igala people. After the Erane traditional rites were completed, the Igala proceeded to Efofe Palace, where various chiefs were tasked with different cleansing rites. Chief Agbenyo Ata performed his rite, followed by Ugbola chief, then Ochijenu chief, and thereafter Chief Abai Ata Igala performed the final traditional rite that ushered the new Igala into the palace.